All right, let's talk about Palworld. I played it yesterday for quite some time. And for me, quite some time is like 3 hours. That is a lot
Yeah,
for me.
yeah, that's a long that's a long session for
Putting
you.
it in perspective, some people are like, "Oh, that's nothing," but for me, 3 is actually a lot considering my weekday schedule. So,
It like
um,
JP streamed that game for like 12 hours
yeah,
the first he tweeted, I think, like last night or something like that. He'd played like 46 hours in like 3 days or
yeah,
something like that. It's just absolute nonsense.
yeah. So for like, obviously, we're putting in perspective. 46, it's still a lot for him, I'm sure, but for me, 3 is a lot because of the. If it's during the week, like I got work, so
That's like 15 hours a day. That is
yeah, it's crazy. It's wild. Like
like,
I can't do
yeah,
that. No chance. But I mean, like you're streaming it to a community. Like,
yeah.
I mean, the game is fun. I will say this. I think this game is going to do really well. So the just a background of this game. If you saw any marketing for this game, let me just clear up what this game actually is. It is a survival game with Pokemon. Okay?
Yep.
You are playing Ark, but with Pokemon instead of dinosaurs. Okay?
Yeah.
So let's just
I've heard
clear that
Ark,
up
and
right now.
I've heard people say Ark, and I've heard people say Valheim, but
Yeah,
basically the
Valheim,
same.
sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
And here's what I'll say about this game. This is a great stream content game. It's really wild watching it and playing it. I mean, like the first thing you do, they're like, okay, pick up wood and stones, and then you have to fist fight one of these pals. You fist fight it. You beat the crap out of it with your fists. You don't have weapons, so you're just beating the crap out of it. Like this lamb, this is the first thing I encountered. I just punched it. I knocked it out by punching it.
Yeah.
And like you just do that. You don't, and they don't get knocked out. They die. You pick up the food from them and all this stuff. Like you kill them. So it's wild playing this game and watching it. And I had Kuru playing it with me, and his character, I picked like kind of a normal looking character. He picked a character that's just like a green alien. Is it just like you could just get these wild experiences from it? It's really entertaining. I had like a clip of me playing, and one of the pals, a chicken. I knocked it out, and it started rolling down a hill, and it was just like whoosh down the hill rolling. And it's just like these funny moments come from this game.
Yeah.
I'll say that watching the pals like build with you is kind of funny. It's all like really funny to play and watch, and I find it's like, and you still get the engagement of Pokemon. You want to go out and explore, catch the new ones. You see a new one, you catch it. Day and night cycle matters. Some come out at day, some come out at night. It's a very interesting and enjoyable experience to be like, okay, I'm playing a survival game, but I'm catching Pokemon because the Pokemon are giving me materials or helping me build the little like base.
Yep.
So that's the game, and it's gotten 2 million players in here in 24 hours, which is astounding. 816 Steam players currently in the game as of the tweet.
I saw yesterday. I saw 500K was the top concurrent. Okay, so now it's 800K. Like,
So it's like blowing up in Steam. Obviously,
it's so viral.
Game Pass. The biggest problem with this game right now, I'll just say it out front, there's no crossplay. So if your Game Pass friend gets it, you can't play with them if you're on Steam. Big problem.
So did you buy it, or
bought
did
it.
you play Game Pass?
I bought it because I knew Kuru wasn't going to be.
You bought it on Steam.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I knew that was going to be where
But
more people were going to be.
It's $30, right?
It's 26 with a 10% discount for the next couple days.
Okay, yeah. So promotion for buying it early, basically.
Exactly. Or I guess 27. But I think I don't know what the longevity of this is, but survival games can get longevity. Like Ark has longevity.
I mean, if they continue to update it and they add new pals and like, whatever, whatever survival games do with their updates, then it's possible that it does have longevity, but we'll see.
There's another bonus. I don't know if there are microtransactions in this game yet. I don't know. I'm guessing there will be at some point. I don't know if I don't think there is right now. I haven't seen it.
They need to work on crossplay, by the way.
They need to work on crossplay.
You want Game Pass to be able to play with
You need crossplay.
Steam.
Yeah.
Is it on Epic?
I think it's on Epic as well. You need that. I think
yeah.
that's got to be a big item.
it's not on console, right? I don't think.
I don't know.
I don't think
so.
I don't think it's on. I don't think it's on console.
I don't know. Yeah, it's a great question. But I do. My prediction is this game is going to have longevity. That's my prediction because it's survival, and survival games can get longevity. That's one of the types that get longevity. But it's got Pokemon.
Yeah.
I mean, they're pals. I don't care. Pokemon. Those are really good, like, mixture. It's a really good mixture right now. It's working for me. I haven't been this engaged in a survival game in a while. Like, I played Lego Fortnite a little bit. Lego Fortnite has problems. I don't know. I don't think I'll go back to it until they make some updates. This game's got some good quality of life so far. There's some things that they need to work on. Crossplay obviously being at the top of the list. I find it's nice to play with Kuru. You have to do a dedicated server, so if I don't boot up the server, Kuru can't join. I'm not sure they're going to fix that. It's okay if it's not, if that's like kind of a thing. But like Lego Fortnite, for example, it's not dedicated server, so I don't have to be booted up for Kuru to join.
I'm gonna be honest with how hard this game went viral. I'm really surprised that they had like the server capacity to handle it this.
They did have trouble. They had trouble. They did have some trouble. They obviously probably went in and got some. They rented out some more servers somewhere, like Amazon. Yeah. Probably did that.
Because I was like, a game like this, like maybe you're expecting X number of players, but this game went viral so fast.
It did.
Like,
it did.
And I agree with you. They did a really good job promoting it with the trailers. They didn't really show what it was in their trailers. They just showed like the Pokemon with guns thing. They didn't show the survival, like, base building and like resource collection part of it at all, which is like an interesting way to go about it. But I guess it worked out. But I think what they did really well in terms of their marketing was it seemed like they spent money on streamers. Like they gave streamers early access, like earlier this week, like 2-3 days early, Tuesday, Wednesday, whatever this week, and it came out on Friday.
Right.
And like every big streamer was playing it, and most of them got freaking hooked on it.
Right.
And then their community is watching it. You're watching Ko and like JP and like Dan's Gaming and I don't know, everybody. Most of the big streamers are playing it. I don't know about like XQC. I know XQC is one of the top streamers. Maybe he was playing it too. I'm not sure.
I don't know. It's a good question. I don't know. But it got to big streamers. It got to
a lot of the big streamers were playing it. And then when people see their, favorite streamer playing it and having fun, they are much more likely to.
They're going to jump in.
Buy the game when it comes out, and this is exactly what happened. So I think they did an exceptional job promoting their game through streamers, basically, and who knows how much they paid the streamers to play it.
I mean, it had to have been a lot, but they must have gotten a return at this point. I mean, you had to have gotten the return at this point.
I don't think they expected 2 million in sales in one day.
I don't think
for this game.
I don't think so either. I think it's just it's been massive. The marketing, I agree, it was great. I think not showing off the survival as the focus in those trailers did well. You just see like guns and Pokemon. You're like, wow, it stands out to you. Then somebody like building a base with a Pokemon, it wouldn't have stood out. You'd have been like, okay, it's survival, got it. Seeing one with like rockets on its back, like shooting them it stands out. It just really stands out.
Yeah.
And you don't get that when you start the game. Obviously, you don't just get rockets. Like you build up to it. You have to build up to it. But like showing that's like the potential is really powerful as a marketing strategy. And it did go to big streamers. I don't know, every is wrong word, but like the big ones got on it. They got addicted. It looked like people were genuinely enjoying it. Yeah. And it's a great community game if you're even like a smaller community. You can put 20 people, I think, on a server. So if you got like a little community, you can put 20 people on your server and you can just have a grand old time. Like Kuru and I were having an amazing time. I don't know what he's going to say about it, but he was like, he wanted to play it, but I think after playing it, he's probably more interested now that he's played it. He wasn't like super sold quite yet, but he was interested. And then I was like, okay, I'll like do it with you. And I was having the best time.
You were hooked pretty quickly.
I had played Baldur's Gate with somebody right before him. I was having way more fun on Palworld. Not because of the other person I was playing with or anything, but it's just like the way the game is played and the way you see the pals and everything.
Yeah.
I was having an amazing time. It was like a kid
Yeah.
at a candy store.
I mean, the way I've heard this game described by like everyone in the bits that I've like watched streams and the clips that I've seen of it and like on Twitter, basically everyone says this is just like it's a very goofy, silly game. It doesn't really make much sense, but it's just like it's a fun first game. It's like
Exactly.
this game is just it's just fun, and
Right.
it because there's so much like goofy, silly shit in it. You know,
It's so
the one
wacky.
clip that like JP shared on Twitter, he's like riding this like I don't know, it's like this kind of big pal. It's like green, and he's kind of like floating down on it like little balloon, like, you know,
Yeah.
it's like an oval shape, very like round, big guy, and he's like floating down on it, and then he lands, and there's like a couple other like small pals, and he just like bazooka shots like these freaking
Right.
these little critters, and just
Yeah.
like boom, and like what?
It's wild.
It's just ridiculous. It's just a ridiculous concept, but it's just
It works
silly
out so
and
well.
silly in the best way. Just fun first, silly game. Like
You can tell that the pals, there are some that just you're just like, this is just a Pokemon but green. There are some cases where you're like, yeah, this is just a Pokemon but green. Like, look at this penguin. This is just Piplup. But I mean, we kind of laughed about it. I kind of laughed about it. I personally, one second, sorry. I don't. Okay, I don't want somebody carbon copying somebody else's work, obviously. But at the same time, I do think it's okay that some of the pals look a little bit like Pokemon. It gives you the moment of like, oh, that looks like a Cinderace. Oh, that looks like Piplup. How cute. I like that one. So I'm going to get that one. But I've also, just like yesterday, I caught a llama. It's actually just called like alpaca, whatever it's called. And you can get a saddle and ride it. You can just use it as a mount. So it's just like super fun. Like there's still some that look distinct to me. I don't know. There's something about it. This is like kid at a candy store kind of game. It's just
it also
fun.
feels like this is like obviously the survival aspects are a little different than what you're expecting, but this feels like the like open world Pokemon game that people have been asking for the longest time. I mean, I guess like Arceus was like kind of that, but you know,
it kind of was.
But
this game also made me mad in some context. Now that you brought that up, because I see it and I'm like, Nintendo, I understand you're on a Switch. Game Freak, I get it. Think if we had this quality for your Pokemon game.
Pokemon, yeah.
I was like, man, think of the possibilities. I'm not saying this is the most gorgeous game ever made, but it looks so good. I'm just like,
and it doesn't run like doo-doo butter.
It doesn't run like shit. It's actually not that buggy from what I've seen. I had one crash, but I think it was just my computer overheated. So I turned down the graphics and hopefully that fixes it. But I don't. It really amazes me. And I understand you're dealing with like PC compared to the Switch, but it made me think of the possibilities of if only I could play Pokemon, you know, Scarlet and Violet on my PC. What a shame. Because that game would look amazing on that. And it's just all those missed opportunities. And then I boot this, I'm like, wow, this game looks really good. Like, it's not perfect, but like quality looks nice, frame rate's great. I haven't run into any bugs. I crashed once, but could have just been my computer.
Hopefully the rumors are true and the Switch 2 comes out this fall, and I'm sure there will be Pokemon something this fall.
There will be.
With the release of the Switch 2. I don't know if it'll be a new gen, but there will be Pokemon something, whether it be a remake or new gen or another like Arceus like game with like the open world stuff going on. But you can bet your sweet Bippy if the Switch 2 comes out, there will be a Pokemon game along with it.
There's going to be a Pokemon
fall.
game.
Like,
there's going to be first-party games coming out for it. Anyway, I don't have anything else to add for Palworld right now. I mean, we can talk about it later in topics, but this is a great time for $30. It's early access. I mean, it's 27 currently for the next couple days as we're talking about it. I mean, if you're any interest in survival games, I think if you're even kind of like a Pokemon fan and you're not necessarily familiar with survival, I think it's fun. And I think it's great with a friend. I think like playing co-op with somebody, it adds so much fun. I can't tell you the number of fun moments I had with Kuwu as my bit rate kind of fluctuates here for a second on stream. I think with somebody else, it adds so much entertainment. So I'm like three hours in, and I'm like drooling to play this again. I haven't felt like this in a while with the game. I'm drooling to get back into the game and play it with somebody and just enjoy like all the wonder of like, oh, it's a new game. I'm having fun. The pals are great. I fist fought one of them. You get like bows and arrows and you're shooting bows and arrows at the chickens and stuff. It's good stuff.
Maybe I'll try it on Game Pass. I'm not sure.
I mean, I'm 100% certain it's not for everybody. So if you're getting into it and you're like, I don't like it, that's okay. It's a pretty slow game because it's survival. You got to build your base. It's going to take a while to get going. Anyway, I don't have anything else to add for Palworld, but I do think it's great that they got 2 million in here, and that's a big deal. Yeah. Seeing this go viral has been fun.
This game went viral so fast.
It did. It's interesting how these things happen. It's very interesting.
Right place, right time. Good marketing strategy.
There's nothing else coming out now. You had the good marketing strategy. You put it in the hands of content creators. They show it off and they're genuinely enjoying it. Before the game's about to release, it's like everybody's in.
Yeah,
everybody's in, and that's exactly what happened.
The streamer effect is super powerful these days. In terms of games and sales and such, my big example that I think of is actually Fire Emblem. Fire Emblem Three Houses versus Fire Emblem Engage. Fire Emblem Three Houses was super popular with streamers. A lot of streamers, like Ko, for example, really liked that game. It was the first Fire Emblem game he ever played. He loved it. He played it like every day. He loved the game. That game, Fire Emblem Three Houses, sold better than any other Fire Emblem game by a long shot.
Oh, I'm sure.
Like by like 2-3x, something like that.
Yeah.
Engage was like sold way worse than.
Yeah.
It's still like it sold okay, it was fine. It sold like I think like 1 to 2 million copies or something like that.
But
I think Three Houses was like 5-6 million, something like that.
Right.
And like Ko, again, I like with the streamer effect, the streamers didn't really play Engage. Ko tried it. He played it for like an hour and he just couldn't deal with the cringe and he was like, I'm out. This isn't for me. Like,
because, and I'm totally there. Like, if you're somebody that really wants a certain type of experience, like Three Houses had great character stories, so you could get really invested in them. Engage's character stories are so bad, it is unbearable at times to just sit through it and be like, oh my god. So I get it. I get that. And I also want to add one thing before you continue. People trust their favorite creator way more than the company that's trying to sell the game.
Or the reviews.
And that is a perfect example for Suicide Squad, frankly. Like, I have zero trust right now in Suicide Squad, the developers of that game now. I'm trying to watch the content creators and see if they're invested. We'll get to it later in the topics. It just did not look like they were invested.
Okay, this is always a bad sign. When even like the IGN or the big outlet like previews say like, yeah, I don't know about this one, or like I played Suicide Squad and I didn't like it, which was literally the headline for the IGN preview. That is a bad sign.
It's a really bad sign. It was really bad.
Because those companies are basically paid to like shill for games.
You want to. They genuinely want to talk high about it, yeah.
advertise basically and say like, hey, this looks pretty. Even if they're not super high about it, they'll usually point out some of like, maybe I didn't love it, but like it has potential type thing.
Right.
Like, it was an early thing, and it's not like that preview from IGN completely like shelled the game and said it's dog shit, but like there was a lot of like, I don't know about this one type language, in it. And that is just a horrible sign
Right.
for a big release.
And that points again. I'm not saying I trust IGN, but like kind of my point is like I would trust Ko's opinion of the game. Especially if I'm a viewer of Ko all the time, I trust his opinion more than the guy selling me the game, because he's trying to say the best he can. Like somebody gave him the game and he's trying to, give it his best shot. But Ko's been pretty good also from what you've told me about saying, look, this isn't for me. I'm going to move on. Like engaged. He moved on. Tears of the Kingdom. Didn't he move on from that? He's like, it's not for me. I'm moving on.
Yeah, I don't. He might have. Yeah, but like that's what he does. He always like when he plays a big new game, he always makes like a thoughts video on it, either after he finishes it or like if he's just doesn't like it and is gonna move on, he'll make a like few minute thoughts video. He uploads it to YouTube and he'll give his thoughts on the game and say like, yeah, if you like it, that's fine, but this just isn't for me. So
right.
I'm done with it. Like,
yeah, I mean, like you
generally
trust.
He's
that.
he's a very positive guy. Generally, he likes most things. He's liked some JRPGs here and there, but he's kind of moved away from them on his channel, and that's fine.
Yeah.
But
it's like your friend. You trust your friend's opinion on something quite a bit. And I'm not saying your content creator is your friend, but it's kind of like that relationship in a certain context. You're like, okay, you seem like a real person as opposed to company. Company doesn't seem real to you at times, right? So
the company's trying to sell you the game. They're trying to get you to buy it. Like,
right. And your content creator is probably doing the same thing too, to some extent.
If they do a sponsored stream, of course they're not allowed.
Yeah.
Like if they're doing a sponsor stream, they're not allowed to say like, "Hey, I don't like this game. This is shit." But
this is a bad game. Yeah.
Once they get off the sponsored part of it, then they can give their real thoughts. And again, Ko rarely says like, "This is a bad game." He just says, "It's not for me. I don't like. Right. I don't personally like this."
Yeah. So I think that part of the content creators getting addicted to this sold people and being like, okay, this could be it. This could be the fun game I can play for the next couple weeks until the next game comes out. So that's where the trust comes in, and that's a good strategy. That's the reason why game developers and publishers constantly go after content creators like Twitch streamers, because it can make your game go viral. In this case, it was probably maybe not necessarily, maybe it's not the major contributor factor, maybe it is, but it's a reason. So I think this game's super interesting.
Honestly, at least in my opinion, I would put like more than 50% of like the reason this game went viral is because of the
possible.
streamers.
It's 100% possible. I don't know obviously for sure, but I wouldn't doubt it. I wouldn't doubt, even if it's like 51%, 75%, it was the content creators.
Like, if I'm being honest, I felt like it's more like 75-80%.
Yeah,
like
it could
I
be.
feel like it was the vast majority.
Yeah,
of it,
definitely could be.
Again, that's just how I feel.
Yeah, it could be for sure. Anyway, Palworld, it's fun. I mean, I'll have more thoughts on it next week, I'm sure, because I'll probably be playing it quite a bit. But man, this game it's stupendous. Okay,